Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rambling RunOff, the goofiest sports podcast around, where we ramble forever and run all day. I am your host, Robert Rios. And yes, we got some more sports news for you to hear this week. And as always, not always, but I got another co-host with me. This week, I got to invite one of my old friends back in the day. He's been on one of our shows once before, a long time ago. So everybody, please give a round of applause if you are not driving for Mr. Jonathan Ghattas. Jonathan, say what's up.
Hello. How you doing, Robert?
I am doing all right, sir. Are you ready to talk some sports rambling news or what?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm happy to be back.
No, yes, of course. I mean, it's been a long while. Yeah, for today's show, we're going to be talking some U.S. men's national team, which is might be a little bit sad when we get to it. We got some college football news to go over again. We got some boxing news, which we haven't done in a while. And we got the rundown, of course, at the very end. But yeah, Jonathan, thanks to you for volunteering to be on Rambling RunOff once again. How's it feel?
Feels good. Ready to talk some sports and some USA soccer and some college football as well.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's the World Cup, so of course we got to talk about it. I know it's the third week in a row that we're going to be talking college football. But hey, your new voice, so I gotta get some new opinions on here, of course. And it was a tragedy on what occurred, but we still gotta talk about it, you know?
No, yeah, agreed. I mean, U.S. played well. I don't know if our expectations for the team were, too high to go past the 16, but it was definitely a good showing. And being one of the youngest teams there in the cup, but I think. For the next World Cup, having it be here, it'll be nice to see how the team performs.
Oh yeah, of course. But before we get into that, I know you haven't been on the show in a while, but Jonathan, is there anything you want to tell the people about yourself really quick, like a little bit of your background and how we kind of know each other?
Yeah, of course. So we, with Robert and myself, went to school at Dominguez, covering sports and being in journalism together. So we've known each other through there. And for myself, I've worked with the Clippers, covering their beat for the last couple of years. So it's been nice being in that world. And I think, even though we're not here to talk basketball, it's been a good season so far for the Clips. So it's been nice to, be back in the sports world.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's why I know we're not doing basketball, but I know you're like generally a sports nerd like myself. So I was like, hey, who wants to, from my colleagues, I'm like, who wants to join? And Jonathan was the first guy to raise his hand. So I was like, all right, come aboard, my friend.
Yeah, the only brave soldier left willing to join you and ramble.
All right. Don't sell yourself too short, or whatever the saying is. But yes, thank you once again for coming on to Rambling RunOff. But with that out of the way, are you ready to start some sports rambling or what?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do the damn thing. But yes, unfortunately, we do have to talk about it. It's been the main talking point of the show the past couple of weeks, ever since I've returned to the internet airwaves on here. But yes, the United States men's national team has been eliminated from the FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022. They fell in the quarterfinal round against the Netherlands, who were a formidable opponent who, in my opinion, outplayed the U.S. in almost every position. But of course, I'm not going to stand here and say that they sucked, but I felt like they actually gave it a good try. They gave it all they had. I mean, the score kind of says a different ordeal, but those 3 goals that they gave up, the scoreline was 3-1. The 3 goals that they gave up were, just defensive lapses, just better play by the Dutch, who, even their coach, Louis van Gaal, just knew what Greg Berhalter was going to do before he even knew what he was going to do. And they were outcoached, outplayed, outmanned. And that's how the U.S. got eliminated. But props to the Netherlands for, bagging 3 in the back of the net on when the U.S. hadn't even given up a goal and the run of play all tournament long. But enough of me talking. Jonathan, what did you think about the game?
Yeah, and I think I agree as far as when the coaching situation, it looked like early on, at least the first 5-10 minutes of the game, the U.S. looked good, was, had the ball, was willing to attack, but Holland kind of knew that with the U.S. opening up those spaces, with them being aggressive, their counterattack was just going to be just as more lethal as it is in general. And, they exposed that pretty early with that first goal, as you mentioned, just in transition, defense kind of flowing towards the ball, let a man get an open space and was able to, put one back in the net early, kind of getting the US to have to play defense the rest of the way out, which we already knew scoring for this team was a big issue leading up into the tournament, and even in the tournament only being able to score one, against Iran, like as you're saying, against the run of play, and not from the
It's
PK.
Iran. It's Iran, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let's get this done. Let's understand this once and for all, please. Thank you.
Yes, Iran.
I'm sorry, but
Sorry.
continue, please.
No, you're
But
good.
continue,
So I
please.
agree. I think defensively it was going to be tough to maintain, Netherlands from scoring multiple goals, and offensively it's been a struggle for the U.S. to score. So you kind of knew that unless they were able to get up on them early, which Pulisic did have a good chance early, and whether or not he was 100% healthy is another question. Who knows how healthy he really was after taking that knock in the prior game. So I think being young gave him some experience, but I think the coaching definitely kind of hurt them in that game where they got aggressive early and then opened up the spaces for Holland to put in 2 goals in the first half, kind of ending their hopes in that game.
No, yeah. Glad you brought that Pulisic chance. 'Cause it was like the 3rd or like 5th minute of the game. Because what Holland
Yeah,
scored
real early.
there, yeah, in the 10th minute, and that chance, which kind of came out of nowhere, because on the first like view of the shot, it looked like he was offside, but then they show like the other camera angle, which was like even he was onside for days, and I think he didn't know that because like it just kind of came out of nowhere. So yeah, when he took that shot, it like he hit it with the back of his heel and it bounced off the ground and it was like an easy save. But what I was seeing from like the sports pundits, a lot of the guys believe that if he would have scored that first goal, it would have changed up what the Netherlands wanted to do, because the Netherlands the whole time, like I said, were just trying to counterattack. But of course he missed it, so it never affected their game plan. They were just like, okay, we'll just let the US pound the ball, get to the final third and goof up, and then we'll just hit them on the counter, because we know they're going to move their midfield all the way up as high as they can, because that's where the midfield is creating all the chances. And that was another thing that I also looked up on too, is that they just they literally and virtually deleted the midfield, like McKennie, Tim Weah, who was his name? Is it Musa or whatever?
Musa,
Like
yeah,
there was no
Musa.
way. Tyler Adams, like, because that whole front line, or not that whole front line, the midfield is the creative asset of the U.S. team. And by getting rid of the U.S., the U.S. midfield. The U.S. had to rely on their like center backs and their defenders to create, which surprise, surprise, is not our like best asset, our most creative skill on doing. So it was like, damn, like we got outplayed before the whistle even blew, before the game
Yeah,
even
no.
started.
Yeah, no, tactically for sure to a degree, and I think again, we kind of knew that was the team's issue going into the cup, was who's going to be that 9 and who's going to finish, at the net when it mattered most. Because Pulisic, as much as he is a good scorer, he's more of a creator, and so if he's not scoring, who is he going to pass the ball to? And Weah did look good this tournament, but like you said, the midfield, like Musa, me personally, I know that he's supposed to be this up and coming player. he played like garbage these 3 games. I didn't like anything he did
Yeah.
other than run. And that's great, but I need you to create and be more offensively aggressive. McKennie's same was kind of, so. Adams played a good tournament, but again, if you can't rely on that midfield to create for you, and we don't have a 9, scoring was going to be an issue. And yeah, tactically from the start, that was the problem for this team. And sure, if Pulisic scores, can they park the bus for 85 minutes? I doubt it. But they maybe have a good chance of playing out to a draw. So I think tactically, yeah, Holland just was the better coach team, but also just have the better players. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run to the Final Four. Though they have a tough one with Argentina next. But um, you know, uh, the team lost to the better team. They had a good tournament, though. Again, 2 draws against decent opponents isn't really going to cut it the next tournament. So definitely have to figure out what's going to happen there at the 9, and also just to continue to develop these guys and see if Pulisic will be that star like Donovan was, for us for multiple years.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you made a lot of great points, and even Greg Berhalter even said it in the post-game press conference. He's like, honestly, we don't have players that are scoring in Champions League every year, which I would say is kind of a silly thing to say, but at the same time, all right, I get it. Like the level of competitiveness and the level of competition isn't the same with the Netherlands staff and the U.S. staff, because yeah, who was the first guy that scored? Memphis Depay in the 10th minute. The goal he scored was on a breakaway because blown coverage. Cause I think Adams or McKennie, ran up all the way up the field and he couldn't track back. Same thing on the second goal with Daily Blind, 45th minute, 46th minute I believe, breakaway, blown coverage. And then the last goal they scored, Denzel Dumfries, the 81st one, it wasn't because it was blown coverage, but it was more on the idea of lack of defending. So it was like, man, like I haven't even gotten to our goal yet. Oh yeah, we scored, by the way. We scored in the 76th minute. I mean, it was cool that
Off
we
a
scored because we
sub.
cut the deficit. Yeah, off a sub, but it was kind of lucky goal, bro. Let's be honest. And if anything, it was Pulisic that scored it. In the 76th minute, Haji Wright got the credit for, I guess you could say, a tap in, to be generous, a tap in goal. It was literally a lucky touch. Pulisic crossed the ball in, got the assist. He kicked the shit out of it. It rolled across the grass. It hit Haji Wright in the toe, and it, like, I don't know, how would you describe it? Skipped, floated. I don't even know how to call it because it just kind of like landed in the back of the net.
Back on that, yep.
I
No, and
don't know
as
how
you
you would
said,
describe it.
no, I mean, I just had somewhat of a lucky goal as far as giving credit to Wright, and really at that point of the game, Holland also just defending kind of, they kind of knew they could play more lax and again let USA have the ball. But again, point being of that goal though was Pulisic is the creator, right, and the reason that was a goal. So yeah, the lack of offense is just really going to be the talking point, I think, moving forward for the team.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say because like I wouldn't say it's like a tap in, but like he literally just put the ball literally rolled to his foot and it went in. It was like, bruh, like you couldn't even believe it. Like I didn't even believe that the ball went in. I was like, how did I even go in? Like no one literally put any athletic ability into that ball rolling in or flying in, I should say. That's probably the right term. It flew in somehow. That's why I say lucky. It was pure luck. And at that moment too, like when they scored, I was like, all right, there's no way. Like they've done it before. And this is what the other pundits were saying too. They're like, okay, that's cool that the US knows how to decently defend. They knew how to move the ball. They know how to kind of score. But do they know how to come back? Do they know how to persevere? And that was one of the things that we got our answer. Nope. Because we got outplayed, we got outmanned. And like, like it hurts me to say it's because we didn't play that bad. It was just that like the inexperience kicked in like the worst moment, It's like, bro, why didn't we? I wish we'd have lost one of our first games and then won the other two. Because then, like, that way we could just got the jitters out of the way. We will look stupid in the beginning. I mean, not that we look stupid now, but it's just it's just disappointing that I ended this way.
No, definitely.
Uh,
I get what you're saying as far as, yeah, maybe the team, yeah, if they had lost that first game against Wales or you don't get a point, then yeah, the pressure's on where you're gonna probably need, to draw England and beat Iran, which they did, right? But again, it's one of those things where, yeah, the inexperience and just being, the youngest team at the Cup of the 32, yeah, unfortunately, it showed in the round of 16. But I think again, a little bit of coaching and also just a little bit of the lineup. We didn't see Reina that much at all this tournament. The subs.
yeah, that was weird.
Right. That he didn't play, and again, I think just using McKennie differently, and again, if Pulisic's healthy, maybe we have a different outcome. But yeah, I think the lack of experience for sure. And like as mentioned, not being able to play other European teams, the CONCACAF, Mexico and Canada are great, but look, they both got bounced early, right? US is the only one that made it to the 16. So the the challenge of playing better competition is also something that hopefully can happen. And we do have a couple friendlies coming up, right? So I think that will just kind of needs to continue and be built up on more, so that way the competition level can be matched when it comes to these bigger tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We got to see a better performance from everybody. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think of it that way. I'm glad you brought that up. That our age also kicked in, not just the experience. Because like, look who I'm gonna go over our subs real quick. Look who we had going on. We had Gio Reyna in for Jesus Ferreira, who just our strikers as a famous coach once said, did dilly, squat, poo, jack. Jesus Ferreira. I mean, no offense to him, he's great, but even none of our strikers didn't do anything. Gio came in the 45th minute for him. Brandon Aronson, who I love, honestly, he's really good. Came in for Tim Weah in the 67th minute. Haji Wright also came in for Weston McKennie. And by the way, Weston McKennie, Tim Weah, and even Tyler Adams, I feel like they played really good in this tournament. But dude, 30 minutes into that first half in the game, they look fucking tired, bro. Like, I don't even think it's because of the heat. They're playing this game like at 11 p.m. over there. They just look exhausted. They look so tired. And then
No,
for
I
Serginho, what
no, I was to
happened?
say agreed with that sense as far as the time also was a weird thing, right? That these games were being played like, almost at midnight. So I think, and on top of the heat, it's possible that, it's hard for an athlete to just try to keep yourself going that late. But obviously that's not an excuse, and they wouldn't use that as an excuse. But yeah, I'm sure for a bunch of young guys, it's hard to keep that energy all day leading up to a game and then have to run for 90 plus.
Yeah, and then we had Serginho coming out in the 75th for DeAndre Yedlin, and then our final sub came in the 90th minute was Jordan Morris replacing Anthony Jedi Robinson. Also, I'd just like to point out something real quick, Jonathan. You didn't know, like in Spain, La Liga, they play their games like at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Because over there, it's the same thing. It's just too damn hot.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, how many of our guys play in La Liga or are used to that type of scheduling, right?
Yeah, that's true. Another stat I'd like to point out, the Netherlands had 11 shots, 6 on goal. USA had 17 shots, 8 on goal. Surprisingly, kind of a weird thing to say. We got the USA did outpossess them 58 to 42%. Um, Other than that, I think I want to go back to I think what it was, they were just tired, bro. Because McKennie didn't play good in this game. Adams didn't play good in this game. Like, the blown covers thing is like, dude, what the hell? Like, all right, the first one, all right, whatever. They caught a slip. And the second one, it's like, fool, come on. Like, this is the same. Like, they literally did the same thing on you, and you let them slide, you know? But yeah, because
Yeah,
even Stu Holden on the broadcast, because they committed a foul in like the 30th minute, and he was saying like the U.S. guys look tired, and yeah, like McKennie didn't play a full 90 minutes all tournament long. I know he was coming off of the injury, but yeah, I could look on all their faces except maybe like Dest. Dest was, I mean, I think he was tired, but his attitude would tell you otherwise because he just wanted to play. But that was not gonna happen if you could just tell like you're not even running anymore, bro. Like you're done. It just sucks, you know. Like I'm pretty sure these guys like actually like push themselves to their limits. You know, they kick themselves in the asses just to try to win the game, but it just was never gonna happen. That's what just sucks in the end, you know.
Yeah, no, and I think also to your point of being tired, I think the way the schedule is set up for a lot of these guys, they've been playing soccer almost year round, right, with your club and all these other little competitions in between. So then the lead up into the World Cup, you really haven't had time off to rest. And then you play three quick games, in a 5, 6 day window. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things where exhaustion on top of the fact that they've played these really crazy long schedules with their teams and, countries that, yeah, it's tough to really make excuses for them, but it's reasonable because, the way that they're worked now, they're gonna just go hop back and play back in Prem League and La Liga, right? So these guys don't really have time off to really let their bodies recuperate. So again, definitely disappointing, but some things to build on. And the positive is that the team is young, so hopefully, you know, this experience will do them good moving forward.
So yeah, we'll give this a couple more minutes as in we want to answer this one final question is, well, what are they going to do now? And first off, for any of the USMNT fans out there listening to this, no, we're not going to fire a damn coach. Chill the hell out. I'm not a firm believer in just getting rid of somebody off of not even a disaster. It was not a disaster. Although we didn't get far in the tournament, I mean, we made it to the knockout round, which I was already expecting. Like anything else after that, oh man, dude, like it would be a damn miracle. But I think with Greg, he does need a little more experience coaching against mid to higher level teams or opponents. I think that would probably help. And then I think we just got to find missing pieces. I don't know. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, and I think you definitely agreed. You don't want to overreact, right? Which we tend to do in sports. And obviously, the coach is always the main one that gets looked at if it's not like the owner or GM. Obviously, in this situation, it's the coach. Getting rid of him is really not going to help, right? Because who are we going to bring in that's going to really make or improve this team that we have? Because it's not really coaching thing. It's definitely a player situation to where can we develop a striker? I mean, Ferreira again. Talking about him, though he got subbed halfway for Gio. He's a goal scorer in MLS. So but does that transition translate to being a goal scorer at this level? So I think it's a mix of just finding competition, better teams to play, and giving Greg, these next 3 years to develop these guys. And yeah, like you said, the round of 16 was kind of the expectation, but really we didn't even make the last World Cup, right? So I think we just get spoiled as always, assuming our teams are gonna make it to these big tournaments and stuff. But we weren't there last year, so getting the team back was a big step. And moving forward, yeah, is can we make a deep run actually?
No, I mean like yeah, like I knew our team wasn't like all that, but I knew we had talent. Like we have guys on here that can play. It's just that, like we don't have a striker. We had Sargent who was good at a time, but he's kind of fallen off. We could have brought Pepe, but I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened there. He just disappeared. And
Right.
then yeah, I feel like we need to just find like little pieces. Like the details matter, and that's what killed us in this game. Like, all right, we didn't have people tracking back because they weren't prepared for the counter, and then we didn't. Our coach wasn't prepared for the other coach to just be like, okay, we're just gonna do this, and that's how we're gonna kill you. So, little things like that like just kept us from moving on in this tournament. But it's okay. Like I said, even getting this far is pretty good in my opinion. I wish we would have won another game or two in the group stage, but I feel like they did all right for our returning squad. We only had like one or two. I think only one guy on this team who ever played in the World Cup. And do you know who that guy was? If you could guess, I'll give you $1.
Ooh, I could not even guess that one.
It was DeAndre Yedlin.
Okay.
I believe he was the last man to play in the 2014 World Cup, which is
Right. So
astonishing because that was years ago now.
right.
But yes, I know you also brought up our friendlies, that some better competition, which luckily for you, every January/February, the U.S. do play some friendlies. Luckily in the Southern California area, because they do have an office located in this region of this country and the world. The first game, the U.S. men's national team will be playing Serbia in our international friendly on Saturday, January 28th, at Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles, California. You can find that time at 7 p.m. PT. And then they also have a second game not too far after that, which is against Colombia, which is, why did I write down the wrong date? What the hell's wrong with me? Also in January, I believe. I gotta look it up again, unfortunately. But yeah, that game will be against Colombia at Dignity Health Sports Park at 4:30 p.m. Wait, now I gotta look this up. Why did this happen? Why didn't you tell me this? Why didn't you point this out, Jonathan? Come on, bro.
The Serbia game. The Serbia game's the 25th, and then the Colombia
Oh,
one
excuse
is
me.
yes.
I just goofed up. Okay, then the 25th. Thank you for helping me out there. Yeah, okay. So USA versus Serbia, international friendly, the 25th. Excuse my mistake. And then the 28th, the US will be heading down to Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson to play Colombia, which kind of sounds like a hot ticket if you don't mind. If you don't mind my opinion, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think between those two, actually, the Colombia one, again, a team that also that on their side of things didn't make it and not as good as expected, but as usual, they're a good Southern American team that I think will be a good competition. But yeah, I think between the two games, the Colombia one, but I mean, Serbia also did just make it, so I think both games are going to be pretty solid. But obviously, leaning towards the one that being at our home stadium. So I think that Colombia game might be one I'll have to catch.
Yeah, I was about to say to give the Serbia game some gas. They made it to the World Cup, so you're getting World Cup quality opponent, and you're getting a South American like opponent as well, who's known to be good. They didn't make it to the World Cup, but they're pretty consistent in my opinion. So you get the best of both worlds. So
Yeah,
with these two games, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see everybody come back. I know last
right.
year they played last year they had a friendly out here. I forget who it was against, but they brought in like a bunch of, I'm not gonna say a
The
bunch of
B
no names, but
squad.
yeah, they brought in like a B. I would even say a C squad. Can't remember the guy. I don't remember his name. I never heard of him. He scored the only goal in like the 90th minute in a 1-0 winning game. So hopefully this time around, we'll get a slightly entertaining more game. But yeah, we'll see what Greg has in store for these two friendlies coming up in January.
Yeah, no, and as you said, I mean, the big thing will also be depends who plays, right? I mean, I would be kind of shocked to see any or most of these guys that were just on this roster playing these games, but you never know, right? So I think again, just for the competition aspect, should be good. And again, if any of these guys do play, it'll be nice to see how they measure up against these teams. Um, but again, I think just having this team continue to find friendlies like this will be a good thing moving forward, right? Because leading up to this cup, they played Japan and Saudi Arabia, so it's just continuing to find opponents that are outside of the CONCACAF region. Because as we've seen, when it comes up to the European teams and Southern American teams, we just don't really measure up as well.
Yeah, no, it's really, it doesn't what you just said made sense, but it shouldn't make sense because like we do put a lot of time and effort into these matches, and I'm pretty sure the coaching staff, the U.S. organization, like they're just like, what are we supposed to do, you know? But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Other than
do you have
just
other than just the what?
no, just other than just making more matchups like this, right, and giving the team a chance to go out there and face competition that will be similar to competition when we get to this stage, like the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. But do you have anything else to add on top of the U.S. men's national team unfortunate elimination from the World Cup?
No, again, I think expectation wise, I think the reality was set in stone kind of from the beginning, and the team is definitely going to have to look at this as a learning experience and move forward, knowing that there's pieces that need to be addressed in order for them to be able to compete, with the Brazils and Portugals of the world.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. We could just all we could do now and then move forward is looking forward, literally looking forward to 2026, literally. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, they were eliminated, and best of luck to those young men who will not be young men in 4 years.
I mean, tell them that they'll still be in their 20s, bro. So
That is true. That is true. But yeah, that will conclude our FIFA World Cup USA segment of the show. And Jonathan, are you ready to go back to college?
absolutely not, unless we're partying.
Oh, hey, yo, chill, bro. Chill, bro. But yeah, we're gonna be talking once again some more college football here on Rambling Runoff. In which Jonathan, would you consider yourself a college football aficionado?
Definitely not aficionado. I know my USC's and UCLA's, as you like to tease, but no, it's definitely not my cup of tea. But I pay attention enough to where I kind of know who's hot and who's not.
I mean, that's all I got. That's all we had to know. I don't know everything as well, but like, I like to still speak of it and put it into the existence. But yeah, don't worry, man. We're just gonna be going for everyone also listening. We're just gonna be going over like the rankings. We do have the bowl game set in stone, which hopefully and sometime soon we'll be getting our actual official aficionado, our college football aficionado, Mr. Daniel Tom, who will be hopefully making a return sometime soon. He'll be giving us his opinions. He'll be hopping on back onto the ones and twos with another podium show for college football. So stay tuned for that. For right now, we're just gonna kind of give an overview on what happened this past weekend, who's ranked where, and who's playing who, and why are all these damn bowl games called what they are. I don't know why. I think we'll go over it again with Daniel, but for now, we're just gonna start doing a quick overview. Is that cool with you, Jonathan? You're not gonna freak out?
No, absolutely not. Let's talk about that Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Oh gosh. Oh no. Okay. Anyways. Oh no. To get things moving, the rankings came out again after the conference games. Well, actually, no. Let's go to the conference games first. What am I doing? Getting ahead of myself. We had the conference games, which we mentioned last week's show. I was able to catch one or two of the games because I was busy because some of these games are kind of early. Friday we had the Pac-12 championship game in which Utah defeated USC by a score of 47-24. That game was at is it called? I think you know this question. Alliance Stadium.
Yes.
Thank you. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, in which it looked like everybody was against USC.
It
I was
definitely
like, damn.
felt like it. I think anytime there's a chance to, watch USC lose at something, people are definitely gonna hop on that bandwagon. Because I just think people get tired of seeing them win all the time. Similar, but it definitely was a hostile environment almost in the sense that, yeah, you had a good chunk of Utah fans there. And again, I mean, Utah's
I would say it was
played
all
them.
Utah fans. I was like, damn, where all these people come from?
I mean, from Utah, they got nothing else to do, so they got to drive out to
Bruh.
Vegas, you know?
I
You
guess
know?
so. But yeah, I was able to watch. I watched the whole thing. It was a good first half with USC like leading. I think it was like 17-3, and then somehow, some way, the half ended tied 17-17 because, and I guess this has just been USC's trend the whole season. Apparently, all offense, no defense, and it's just like, what the hell, bro? Y'all got like the greatest quarterback right now. Or not, I shouldn't say the greatest, but you guys have a really good quarterback at the helm, but you guys can't tackle for shit. And it was pretty bad, bro. Like, I don't know how much of the game you got to see or what you've seen of it, but like they were missing a lot of tackles in the start of the second quarter and into the rest of the game. Like all the tackles that they could have had added up to almost 200 yards of offense that they gave up to the Utes. It's like, dude, come on, like you guys look like me when I played high school football. Like you guys can't be missing tackles. You guys played college football. You guys got scouted. Like, bro, you guys got scholarships. And y'all look like freshman football players that don't know how to tackle, like me. Like, come on, fool. Like, damn, like it was pretty bad, bro. Like, by the time this, I think Utah scored to go double on USC, I just turned the TV off. Honestly, I was like, I can't watch this no more. Like, it was, I don't know, it was stupid. Like, I couldn't believe they actually did that. Like, they lost the game. I'm like, damn, I come back to watch college football and this is what it is? Like, damn. Like, all
Yeah, no,
gas,
I
no
think
brakes, crash and burn in the worst way.
for me it was the kind of the opposite of you where I saw them go up that 17-3 and I was like, all right, cool. I don't have to watch the rest of this. I kind of know where this is going to end, another SC beatdown. And yeah, I turned it off or switched to something else. And then, yeah, took another peek at halftime. And when saw it was tied, I was like, oh, okay, it looked like maybe again, not really having watched much of the second half. I would think maybe like the pressure of the moment because SC kind of did know the situation, right? You win and you make it into this college football playoff and, solidify yourself as a top two, probably, right? But whatever happened that second half, again, Utah's offense seemed to click. And as you're saying, missed tackles, which I think unfortunately is also kind of why I don't enjoy the college game at times because, yeah, you kind of see moments like that, right, where it kind of looks sloppy high school type of play. And you're just like, really, guys? Like, aren't you almost supposed to be semi professional? But, then again, it's easy to say that, right, when you're sitting on the couch. But I mean, these guys, you know, not being able to make tackles right, and yeah, just defense also. I think, which let's be honest, on SC's standpoint, as you're saying from the beginning of the year, defense has not been their main suit. They score the most points, right? I believe in the Pac-12, so that's how they win a lot of their games on the offensive side. So I think the moment and possibly, as you're saying, yeah, just the lack of defense there kind of jammed them and obviously lost at the worst possible time because that game ended up costing them, a chance at a championship.
No, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, dude, like they pissed their opportunity to go into the playoff for the first time. Like, it was pretty bad, bro.
Right.
Like, how, like, you guys knew what you were playing for? Like, come on, guys. Like, it's not that hard. Like, and another thing, I do find it funny what you said earlier. You're like, yeah, everyone wants to see USC lose. Bro, aren't you guys tired of seeing us lose for the past, like, 5 years? What the hell, bro? They haven't had a
I
winning
mean,
season since, like, 2016, 2017. The hell y'all talking about that you want to see USC lose? But, bro, we went 11-1 this season. You know when was the last time they went 11-1? 2008, bro. Like, come on, fool.
yeah, that
Like,
was
that's
like
just
last
ridiculous.
week. All right. That just happened. Let's see. So no, I think it's just the stigma of LA, right? Just anytime it's like something LA related, we're ready to see them lose. But it being USC, it's just a little bit sweeter for those that just don't like USC.
It is what it is, but I mean, yeah, sadly for the Trojans, it was not going to happen. Because yeah, another thing too was like if they were to win this game, they would have erased the loss that they already had to Utah. But of course, it was this loss they screwed the pooch. I don't know how else to tell you.
No, yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
all the marbles were there for the taking, and they definitely would have had that number two, right? Because TCU also lost their game, so it kind of was set up perfectly for them to secure that. But again, it was a good season, right? And I know Caleb is there in the Heisman race, so it wasn't all for nothing. And I'm sure they'll end up in one of these bowl games. I'm sure, right?
no, yes, of course. I mean, he was emotional after the loss. I know he was emotional after the first loss, but hey, they got a guy that's in the Heisman race, so I mean, it's not going to end terribly, but you want to play in the big games, and he's just bummed out. I mean, they're all bummed out. Well, hopefully everyone there is bummed out. They squandered their chance. But yeah, um, to move on a little bit. Also on Friday, there was also the Conference USA Championship game. North Texas at UTSA, or should I just say University of Texas San Antonio, won 48-27 over North Texas. And then you mentioned TCU, correct?
Yes, that was a good game.
I know, right? It was because it went to overtime, correct? That's what I have here. Yeah, overtime,
no, that was
right?
a good game, back and forth, and TCU scored late, literally with no time on the clock. Converted a 2-point conversion to tie it, send it to
Yeah, I
OT,
saw that.
and same boat for them, right? They kind of knew they needed to win, though apparently the committee didn't see the loss as too bad since they still ended up number 3, but definitely was a nice game there also for the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, dang, like we could have won and maybe moved up a spot. But unfortunately, yeah, in the Big 12 championship game, Kansas State defeated TCU 31-28 in overtime. I was able to see the highlights of this, and yeah, it was a back and forth affair. It looked like Kansas State had it in the bag every time he scored, but then TCU just somehow, some way, just kept finding a way to get points on the board and keep them in the figurative race of the game. In which, yeah, they went into their college football's version of a penalty shootout. I believe, yeah, they weren't able to score on their drive, right? Did they go for it or they missed the field goal? I forgot what it was, but
Yeah, I can't that I'm the worst, but yeah, I did not catch the overtime. But yeah, I think they just didn't get their possession, yeah, and didn't get the chance to score. And then yeah, Kansas went ahead and kicked the field goal on their
yeah,
possession
because
to
they
end
kicked
it.
a field goal. There's no other way that if they didn't score a touchdown or a field goal, then yeah, I'm assuming that's what happened because TCU was probably banking that their defense was going to stop them, but it didn't end up happening. So it is what it is. But good on for TCU on still sticking it into getting a spot in the playoffs. Because yeah, I heard they were like a really good team this season, which is kind of weird to say. Which I mean, they've had decent teams in the past, but for them to make it to the playoffs, like kind of remarkable in the way.
Yeah, I don't think they were a team that you would have thought. Same with SC, right? Who would have been fighting for a Final Four spot? Because when you look at the other 3 teams, yeah, you kind of are used to seeing those big names. But yeah, I don't think TCU was on anyone's radar coming into the season. So good for them to kind of get back on the map. Small little Texas Christian University school there in Texas. Sorry, so they're not known like
They're actually called
uh,
Texas Christian, okay, everybody, so no one freak out.
yeah, yeah, exactly, so
That's what the TCU
smaller
stands for, Texas Christian
smaller school,
University.
but again, they definitely with this put themselves on the map, and a good game with Michigan coming up. Michigan looks great, but TCU definitely has a chance. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. It was a good matchup. So let's just see what happens now in the playoffs. And the other games on that Saturday, the American Conference. Yeah, American Conference Championship game occurred also. Another team that I wouldn't really suspect of being a big name. Like I've seen them. I've seen their weird helmet decal. Tulane defeated UCF, which is also weird to say, 45-28. Remember when UCF like declared themselves the national champions because they were the only undefeated team?
Oh yeah, like what was that? 3 years back, 4 years back?
Yeah, a couple years ago, dude, that was crazy. And now they lost to a team called Tulane to have like a wave as their damn mascot. What the hell, bro? What? Tulane? No, there's no way, bro. Man, I gotta see what Daniel has to say about this because there's no way, bro. Tulane? Tulane.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
thought they were just always a goofy team to play on college football and NCAA. Come like, oh, let me play this team that no one knows about. Well, now everyone knows everything about them because they won their conference championship over a decent opponent as well, a known opponent. So it's like, all right, this is how we're rolling. Because that's what I've been noticing too the past couple of years. Like, there's not that these. I'm not trying to discredit the teams, but it's like teams I didn't really like hear about as a kid watching college football. Like, you're starting to hear about them. Like, their programs are 10 years later finally turning it around.
right,
Which
becoming
is just
relevant.
weird.
Yeah, and then speaking
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Tulane, they are actually playing SC in the Cotton Bowl Classic. So the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. So there you go. You'll see
Bro.
Tulane on the big
Yeah,
stage.
there you go. They're playing, bro. Tulane started from the bottom. Now we here.
Hey, the
It
upset,
just
Michael.
happens.
The
I know, right?
upsets that's happening.
I don't want that, bro. Come on. But yes, and other conference news, the Mountain West champion was crowned between Boise State and Fresno. Um, Fresno State defeated Boise State 28-16. They were the away team, so a great road victory for them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a
in the
shocker.
ACC, I know, right? I remember, dude. Maybe when Boise State was like kind of like a powerhouse, and they were like a not Power Five conference team, and they were like winning everything. I think what was it? I think it was the Fiesta Bowl. They beat Oklahoma. That was like a big
Yeah.
deal because it was like an epic comeback. Like, oh, dude, those were the days, bro.
Yeah,
But
no, I mean
yes,
they put themselves on the map with that one.
yeah, for a little while. Remember because they were going undefeated for like years, and then they stopped going undefeated, and that was when it all went downhill. But it's because they weren't playing nobody, and then they finally played somebody, and it was like, oh, okay, never mind, we suck. It's like,
Yeah,
bruh,
they stuck to the Mountain West schedule.
yeah. Like, all right, we're not gonna play Texas no more. We're not gonna do that no more. But yeah. Let me see. Who should I have a few more. I have like two or three more on here, but I'm gonna leave one for last. ACC championship game. We had Clemson going up against North Carolina, in which Clemson defeated North Carolina 39-10. Shockingly, Clemson did not make the college football playoff, which is weird. In the Big Ten, we had Purdue play Michigan, in which Michigan won 43-22. Uh, I mean, I was kind of shocked to see that it was Michigan versus Purdue, which is kind of weird. Because I mean, Purdue had Drew Brees, but that was years ago, and now they're playing. They had to play the number three. Well, at the time, the number three team in the country. So yeah, that's interesting. And then the last conference championship game that I have written down here. Sorry if I skip your conference champion for some reason. I don't know why you would low key pay attention to those. But anyways, the SEC championship was crowned. The number one team, of course, won. Georgia was victorious 50-30 over LSU. I was unable to catch this game. Were you actually? I should probably ask you this. Were you able to catch any of these other games or no?
I watched some of that Michigan game, but same thing. It was kind of like SC where early on it kind of looked like they had it. Other than that, no, again, these games like you just made the comment, don't really pay attention to the championship games, especially for college. I'll watch the college football playoff games, but yeah, these like random ones, not really. I mean, the SC one obviously was important for the Pac-12, but yeah, no, caught some of the Michigan. Other than that, none of the other ones kind of were enticing. You kind of knew Georgia should win. So even if you wanted to watch, it wasn't really, you didn't really expect anything other than them winning.
Yeah, exactly. Can you give me one quick quip on the Michigan game? Like, what do you think about the game?
I think the fact that Gorham's not a Heisman finalist was kind of, a snub, but running backs
Yeah, it's kind of
usually
weird.
it is, but running backs, right, just don't tend. I mean, I think all four are quarterbacks, right, which is usually what happens. So I think that to me was a shocker because that kid definitely is the reason that offense is good, and they run the offense through him. So I think he'll definitely be a good prospect moving up for the NFL. But that was what caught my eye for Michigan's offense. That you kind of know he's gonna get the ball, but you're still not gonna stop him, and they do just enough throwing the ball that it's a threat, so you can't just like stack the box type of thing. So that to me is what stuck out, and also just the fact that the kid wasn't named a Heisman finalist because they're definitely, if let's say they win it all, it'll be most likely because of him.
No, yeah, I mean, I'd probably say the last like really good running back to have a Heisman Trophy. I don't know if he won. I don't remember. Actually, not. Now that you brought it up, I don't even remember now. But Saquon
Was it
Barkley,
Reggie?
did he win it or nah? Probably not Reggie. No, well, I know
Someone.
Mark Ingram won it,
Okay, yeah, Ingram.
but
I
that was years
don't
ago.
know if
I want,
Saquon did,
but I remember
but
he was like
maybe.
really good though. He was like maybe the last like college running back that was like, all right, you gotta watch out for this fool.
Right, or at least like a finalist, maybe. I'm sure we can get Daniel
Yeah,
to
because
check for us, but
probably yeah. Cause I feel like with even if he wasn't a Heisman finalist, like I would say with Saquon, he was like scary. Cause once he got into space and you didn't tackle him or even get a finger on him, he was gone, bro. Like that's what he reminds me of. But yeah,
yeah, no,
it's kind of
I
disappointing he didn't
agree.
get picked. But
Yeah, no,
just
definitely sucks. Sorry, but yeah, I think the Michigan obviously will be the team to look out for in this playoff because yeah, you have a guy like him that can carry a game. I think that could be a deadly mix with their defense too. So we'll see how he does because I'm sure he'll kind of have a chip on his shoulder for not being named a Heisman finalist.
yeah, so odd. And considering that I think what Michigan went undefeated, which I think is the first time ever, which is kind of also weird to say, but yeah, man, good on the Wolverines for getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, to quickly start moving on here a little bit, let's just go over like I said, we're gonna go over this more in detail later on, but let's just go over the matchups that we got for the what you want to call it, bowl season. Well, actually, I'm gonna save the proper verbiage for later, but yeah, bowl season is upon us. But yeah, the playoffs go as listed. Uh, college football semifinal at the VRBO Fiesta Bowl. Verbo? I don't know. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Number 2, Michigan will face number 3, TCU. And then at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, we got number 1, Georgia going up against number 4, Ohio State. And then to go over the rest of the rankings, we had Alabama at 5, Tennessee at 6, Clemson at 7, Utah at 8, Kansas State at 9, and USC that was at 4th went down to 10, and so on. For the rest of the bowl games, for your interest, like I said, we're going to go into details later on. The hometown lenders Bahamas Bowl will be Miami, Ohio versus UAB. Come on, guys. Think of the hometown lenders, really. The Loose Trading Cure Bowl would be UTSA versus Troy. We got the Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
Really? Wasabi, dog.
Bro, too spicy. Cincinnati versus Louisville. Cricket Celebration Bowl, Jackson State versus North Carolina State. Jackson State, which will be out, with no Deion Sanders at the helm. Interesting. New Mexico Bowl, SMU versus BYU. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. I know that's your favorite. We got Washington State versus Fresno State. The Landing Tree Bowl, Rice versus Southern Miss. What the hell? That's a random ass matchup. Okay. The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Really? Florida versus Oregon State. The Frisco Bowl. North Texas versus Boise State. We got Marshall versus UConn. The Myrtle Beach Bowl. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Eastern Michigan versus San Jose State. Roofclaim.com. The fuck? It's Liberty versus Toledo. Bruh, really?
No one's watching it. Don't worry, guys.
That's a tongue twister. Yeah, some of these don't even have to trip. I might even go through the rest of them because they do get kind of tedious to say. I'll just skip over to the what's it called, the rest of the Big Six games, which include, what do we got? The Citrus Bowl, I believe, which is LSU versus Purdue. We also have in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, USC versus Tulane, as you mentioned earlier. And then we got the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, Utah versus Penn State. Good on them. But yeah, I think that wraps up our college football segment of the show, Jonathan. Are you ready to move on, or do you got anything else to say?
No, I think we'll be ready to ramble some more once the playoffs get a little bit closer.
All right, for sure, man. But yes, next up in our programming here today, we got a little bit of boxing, which kind of crept up on me as well. I know any long time or consistent listeners know that we do cover some boxing, usually with my Mr. Danny Tan, who's been around. He's still around here. He's usually the guy that likes to lead the boxing segments. But I don't know. Apparently there was a boxing fight between Tyson Fury and, how do you say this name? Derek Chisora, which I believe occurred in the UK. Tyson Fury retained his WBC and lineal heavyweight championship with a one-sided beating of Mr. Chisora that finally was stopped by the ref at the 2-minute and 51-second minute at the 10th round. They're at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. So yeah, that's what we're leading with our warm-up segment of today. I didn't see the fight, obviously, like I just said. I didn't know it was happening. So I just randomly stumbled upon it, and I was like, ooh, I like Tyson Fury. Let me see what's going on. And I watched the highlights of this bout, and yeah, he murdered this fool. Like, this guy never stood a chance. And I think before we were recording, you said this was their third time they had boxed, right, Jonathan?
I believe so, right? It was a trilogy.
Yeah, which is interesting because I think I also saw somewhere that Chisora has never beaten Fury. So, I mean, yeah, Chisora has now lost 3 times to Fury, who never landed a punch of consequence, but observed plenty of them. I know the Gypsy King laid it on them, bro. Like, in every single highlight that they showed that I was watching, which, by the way, the fight was on ESPN Plus apparently. Yeah, he crumbled him. He just punch after punch after punch after punch. Chisora just kept taking them. It's like, dude, like, are you not tired? Are you not hurt? Which, spoiler alert, he was. Reading an ESPN article, they explained that, yeah, once the ref stopped the fight, his right or left eye was swollen. He was bleeding. It was like, dude, how are you not dead? What? It just made no sense, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've never boxed before, so I can't tell you, obviously. But from light sparring experience, yeah, if you get hit in a good spot, it's game over. And these guys are heavyweights, and he took a slugging. But yeah, I think probably the fight should have been stopped sooner if that was the case. If Chisora never put any combinations together. But you want to know what really caught my attention, Jonathan, about this whole ordeal? Like I said, I didn't even know it was happening. But do you want to know what made me want to put this as the warm up?
What was that? What would that be?
Popped up? What caught my attention first was that I got a random suggestion of an ESPN Plus interview after the fight which caught my attention because Fury said a lot of interesting things, and they also kind of delved into what didn't happen from what I didn't see, what didn't happen on camera for me, which I had to like kind of read over, was that which the reason why second reason why I put this as the warm up topic for today, he was calling out Alexander Usyk, who me and Danny have talked in length about before on our programming on Ramming Runoff, and yeah, these guys are both big dudes, not in height because Fury has a very big height advantage over Usyk, who's a little bit shorter, in which he called him out because Usyk was in the crowd and they kind of met face to face, and where I got it, I think Usyk climbed up onto the side of the ring, and all you hear is Fury go, "You're next, little bitch." And I mean, he's little, but I'm like, bruh, it's so on, like, because I think what it is, they want to unify all the titles, which is probably gonna be the craziest shit of all time. Because Fury, he's a tough SOB, and he will not take any crap from nobody. And the last time I saw Alexander Usyk box was against dang it, I'm forgetting the guy's name, but I'm gonna have to look it up on it. I have the link here. But to continue about the interview, Fury said a lot of interesting things, like he wants to fight Usyk. He wants to show that he's better than him in every shape and form. And here we go. Yeah, Usyk's last two victories were over Anthony Joshua, and even Fury even said, he's like, dude, honestly, Joshua, he's a good boxer, but he's more of a bodybuilder, like basically undermining Usyk's victory, which is like, I mean, it's cocky shit talking, but at the same time, it's like good, motivative, like talking crap to the point where it's like it's catching my interest, like a person that's not really into boxing that much, but it's like, oh, like it's intriguing, like he actually knows like what to say and being like, hey, you know what? I think he's good, but I think I'm a better boxer than anybody he's faced. And that's basically what he was saying. And he even told him, he's like, well, I'm no bodybuilder, you sucker, you ugly little man. He told him that to his face, and Usyk just is just like, all right, with his arms crossed, like, all right, let's go, foo. But just kind of reading up more on the topic of the fight, and what Fury was saying in the interview on ESPN Plus was that he wants to see if he can fight in February. It's either gonna be Usyk or dang it, who's the other guy? Oh, I guess I didn't jot this down, but Usyk or another opponent that he was eyeing for a bit. But what he said that was interesting, that he's gonna need surgery on his, I think he said his right elbow and his hand. And it's like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Even the guy that was doing the interview was like, wait, what do you mean you need surgery? You just did a boxing match for 10 rounds against a guy that was taking all your punches, and you're telling everybody now that you need to get surgery? He's like, yeah, on my elbow and my hand. Like, I'm struggling to move it. Like, what? Like, Fury is a freak of nature, bro. I don't know if you ever met, like, a fighter or, like, people that, like, actually like to, like, even people that like to work out. Like those type of people where it's like, not like, I'm not saying they have to be super duper buff, but people that actually know how to take care of their body. And it's like, all right, I need to do this, this, and this, and I'll be ready. But he said hopefully soon he'll find out what's going to happen with his surgery. And with that, he'll move on with whatever ordeals he would like to do with his fighting career. Because looking at the article again, I think either the fight's going to be in the UK again, or I am seeing reports that it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. But even the interview even asked, he's like, hey, all right, to come back to Vegas or what? And he was like, we just gotta wait and see what the future holds for us. But I mean, dude, they have 60,000 people at the stadium, bro. That is a lot of people. So I'm assuming he's gonna want big money, big crowd, big arena. I don't know, Anthony, do you know how big or how the infrastructure is at the MGM Grand in Vegas?
I mean, I don't know if it would be as big as Tottenham, right? Which is, a huge stadium, but I think the lore of being in Vegas, right, is usually, and then fighting in the MGM is usually what gets the guys wanting to box there. But yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they had a fight like in Saudi or somewhere else in Europe where, they're just going to be able to get more money, um, out of the fight. But we'll see. Again, Fury, like you said, the fact that he had to get surgery and, you know, literally after beating this dude's face in, on his elbow and stuff, we'll see when he'll be ready to fight. Like you're saying, it sounds like it'll be sometime next year. But I think compared to Tottenham, I don't think MGM would be as big, but I think the lure of fighting in Vegas is usually what's you know what's bigger than getting the payout sometimes.
No, yeah, because like it was even just interesting because looking back, like I have the interview playing right here in front of me, and like it was just weird because like Fury just like he's human, like yeah, he knows how to build up the fight, but he started talking about like, dude, like I'll be ready, bro. I'll be ready, bro. Like I used to be depressed, I let addiction take control of me. I was a mess, and now look at me. I'm champion on top of the world, heavyweight champ, and like if I could do it, anybody can do it. And it's like, damn, like he making me want to get into boxing. He making me believe. I'm like, damn, like he actually like knows what he's talking about. Not like other times where it's like boxers like either they're really quiet or they talk too much. I'm just like, bro, like what you just said make no sense. But everything he making me a believer in him, bro. Like, oh, I want to see this fight now. Because I've seen Usyk fight, so I'm like, all right, I know what both fighters bring to the table, so I just want to see the heat,
Right.
But yeah,
No, exactly.
but yeah, like like it's very interesting. I mean, we'd have to discuss more about it later on. Hopefully, Fury does recover. I think he said it would take a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. But like, bro, it's already December. He wants to fight in February. Like, that's a quick turnaround. I know like a lot of these fights have been like coming, like, no pun intended, fast and furious. Like I remember there'd be like boxing matches, like Canelo, for example. He would box like, let's say the year started next year, obviously. We start next year. His first match is gonna be he's preparing until from now until like May. And then he'll probably have another one like at the end of the year or the beginning of the year next of 2024 after that. So it's like, damn, like this fool wants to box now and then do another one like in 3-4 months. Like you're crazy, bro. And then you gotta get surgery. Come on, guy.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I guess these boxers just built different. That's what it is.
no, they are built different. And just to also point out a quick stat from the match, Fury landed a total of 205 punches. Do you want to know how many punches Chisora landed in 10 rounds? Can you guess?
Less than 50.
All right, not too low, but it was less than 100. He only landed a mere 87 punches, bro.
All right.
Against Fury's 205. That's a hell of a stat, bro. But yeah, I mean, unless you got anything else to add on our boxing topic for the warm up today, are you good?
No, yeah. I mean, I know I would not. We both couldn't take a Fury punch to the face and get up from it. So the fact that he could take 200 and change is definitely just again just
I
shows
would,
how boxing is just a whole different level of athleticism, really, when you think
the
about it.
funny thing is, you say he didn't even go down.
Right. Yeah. Just his face
Just,
was messed, right? But the dude, he's still standing. Like,
I
I
know,
mean,
right?
it's crazy. No, these guys. I mean, again, obviously, the level of training to box is different, but no, the fact Fury again, he's dominated, at his weight class for a while. And again, that's why, he's kind of had to fight these guys, multiple times. So like you said, it would be nice to maybe see a new matchup. And assuming he's healthy in a few months, I'm sure they'll get that match going at some point.
Oh yeah, man. But of course, as always, make sure you follow us on our socials so we can catch you up on all the boxing news. How about that? Is that a deal, everybody? Yeah, see, no, maybe. We do our best
Deal.
around here. Deal, exactly. Um, if that's all you got, you want to hop into the rundown and start winding this show to an end?
Yeah, let's wind her down.
All right, for sure. In the rundown, not a lot today, but we do got a little bit to say. Um, quick shout out to the UCLA Bruins women's soccer team. Let me see. I got my notes right here. They had a go-ahead goal off of a rebound in the 107th minute as the top seeded Bruins rallied past the North Carolina, was it the Tar Heels, right? The Tar Heels
Yes.
3-2 on Monday recently to win their second women's soccer championship in program history. The Bruins became the first women's soccer program in NCAA history to win the title with a first-year head coach. Their squad was also the first to come back from 2 goals down to win the national title. Hey, I mean, I didn't know the game. Look, the game. I didn't know the game was going on. I mean, lightly hovering, following, the NCAA soccer tournaments, which I know the men's is going on as well. But hey, shout out to the UCLA women coming back, dude. I did see the goal. It came off a corner kick. It was like, bruh, like North Carolina fell asleep, bro. And UCLA, like in soccer, if you smell blood in the water, you're gonna score those goals, bro. They're gonna come. So
Yeah, no,
good
I
on
mean,
them for winning it.
I checked it out because you brought it up, yeah, in our little chat that we have with the boys, and same, saw the goals, later on ESPN, and yeah, that like you said, that second goal to tie with what 20 seconds left. I mean, she's literally in the net, with the ball, and the ability to tie that game up, like you said, after they scored that first one, yeah, they could kind of feel it. Because both goals came with what 10, 15 minutes left, so definitely
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of time left.
definitely a shout out, yeah, to the Bruins and those ladies to not only right to force it to go to overtime, but then go ahead and end it, because you can easily, you exert all that energy and then, could lose it. So for them to climb all the way back, that was definitely a good win, and just the way the goals were scored too were, yeah, I mean, the second one was wild. I mean, she's literally in the net with the ball, so it
I
was
know,
uh
dude.
it was
It's like,
insane.
damn,
But
optional
especially in
defending.
soccer, right? Like, you don't see that. You kind of see that in football, like a team down two tutties and they come back. But to be down 2-0 in soccer and then, to force it, that was insane. Especially in college, they have that like the reverse clock, right? So it's like winding down on you. I mean, so it's crazy. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, exactly. But yeah, shout out to them for getting it done. Next up, what we got? We got some MLB news. I know you like some baseball. We're just gonna go over some of the signings slash re-signings. Hey, they're not a lot, but there are a lot of big names on this list. Not into too much detail, but the first one that I had written down was Justin Verlander. He's going to the New York Mets, 86 million for a 40-year-old. What do you think about that?
Again, baseball contracts have gotten a little bit wonky where you get these large, crazy amounts, right? His contract is per average per year is the highest ever that we'll see for any player. I believe it's somewhere in like the 40 million range. But for Justin, it is deserved in the sense that he won the Cy Young, had a great season even at this age. But I would be playing good at 38 too if I was dating Kate Upton. So, props to our man.
Bruh. Hey, don't forget, he also has one, or depending on who you ask, he has 1 or 2 World Series rings, okay?
Right. I mean, one, right in doubt, but exactly having this one too. No, again, good for Justin. I think I question if anything the move going to the Mets. Like really the Mets, like
Hey, the Mets
there
are
was the
signing everybody, bro.
they're gonna try to buy a team, right, as any New York team tries to do. But I
Oof.
think for Justin, that's if anything, I question, right? Do you want to win or do you want to take the money? Yeah, the Mets are decent, but they're the Mets. I mean, I'm not too worried about the Mets.
I mean, I would just say watch out. But yeah,
No,
it was
again, with him and Scherzer, they'll be good, for sure. But to give a 40-year-old, right? That's the biggest thing too, right? Is can he? You're gonna. We know he's not gonna have the season he just had. So is he gonna be able to stay healthy, give you enough, even just half of that? With Scherzer, then yeah, they can definitely have a nice little 1-2 punch. But at 40 plus, it's just hard paying someone that kind of money. But yeah, JB has proven that maybe he'll be worth it.
no, yeah, we just have to see, what's to come. Another older guy I like to point out that just got signed to another team, Justin Turner. He's going to the Phillies. Supposedly, sources have said that he's being signed, and I would reciprocate what you said. It's getting silly. 300 million for 11 years. Damn, bro. What the hell are you gonna
Yeah,
do with all that money? What are you gonna 11 years? What are you gonna be doing for the next 11 years in Philadelphia? There's no way. There's no way,
it's a
bro.
lot of Philly cheesesteaks and
Dude,
you know.
serio. That's a lot of
So
money, bro. That's a long time. 11 years? Dude, that's a
yeah,
whole
no,
ass
this
child. That's a whole ass that's a whole ass lifespan for like one person.
yeah, no, the
Damn.
contract's gonna take him till, as speaking of a 40-year-old, till he's 40. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
dude.
it puts him there obviously the rest of his career more or less, barring trades or whatever. But yeah, again, just on the trade Turner, um, going there, it's definitely again a piece I know for the Dodgers, our Dodger fans losing a shortstop, but again, I don't think there was expectation that he was gonna stay with that midseason trade, right? But I think again, big deal that he got kind of sets the playing field for the rest of this free agency because we have Aaron Judge still out there. But it was expected, that he would get this kind of money. I guess going to Philly, I mean, same Philly is decent, but do
Philly's
we?
on the Philly's on the up. We talking about Philly's decent. They just went to the World Series. What the hell are you talking about?
Right. I mean, no, they did, but that's the
Hey,
first
you tripping.
season. The first season they've made it in how many years now? That's the thing.
Also, I'd like to say thank you for correcting me. I did accidentally type Justin Turner on my notes. It was Trey Turner, everybody. My bad.
No,
Oopsie,
you're
thank
good.
you.
That's no, you're good. But no, I mean, again, Philly. Yeah, the point being, adding this piece, sure, they'll be better. But I mean, again, it's always for me with baseball. It's hard to make that trade off when you're paying these guys that much money because you're kind of now leveraging the next few years on these particular players. So it just varies, especially a club like Philly that doesn't spend money like LA or New York does. So.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, all makes sense. But thank you. Um, really quickly, we got two more on my list right here. Uh, there were no numbers specified. What I could see, Cody Bellinger is now going to the Cubs, and Clayton Kershaw has re-signed with the Dodgers. So a lot of Dodgers are moving everywhere, which is kind of weird to say, considering the Dodgers usually like to keep people around.
Yeah, the Cody one's not, again, too big of a shock. If we have to be realistic, he hasn't played well, the last couple of years and wasn't too healthy last year. So, for the amount of money, again, trying to get 20 million for 1 year, it's just such a crazy amount of money though nowadays, like these contracts, it's nothing, but not too surprised. I know Dodger fans will be sad to see him go, but keeping Clayton around is great. And he was good this last season if he can stay healthy. So again, at least keeping some of the core um there intact, right? And not letting these guys go. Though again, Trey and Cody, you can kind of expect that they were going to be moving out.
Tragic. Well, we'll just have to see what happened to the Dodgers now, because it's like the opposite. Like everyone's adding, but the Dodgers are losing.
Right, which they're not used to, right? Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
used
it
to
sounds
that.
kind of.
So, and
I feel
then
like
we
that's
know
like
they're not getting judged. So, it's like, all right, who are they going to sign to
hey,
make
you
that
never know, bro.
difference, right?
Who's that? I heard there's some Japanese guy. I don't know his name, but there's some Japanese guy going around. His name's floating around, and I don't know his name, but I've heard rumors.
Hit the market.
So we just gotta wait and see what happens with the Dodgers and see who they get. Because how are you gonna be letting everyone else get all the big names and you're gonna be missing out? That makes no sense.
No, yeah, and again, I think for me, it's it's only October, so I know though it is off season and free agency for baseball, it's still so
winter
early.
meetings.
Yeah, but it's so early that so many things will happen, and we'll see trades and things happen before training camp and etc. But yeah, I'm sure as for Dodger fans, it's a little bit disheartening to see a couple guys leave and then see other guys sign elsewhere, right? Where you thought maybe, oh, okay, let's sign this guy or sign that guy, but I'm not too concerned when it comes to you know the fact that we're only in December, so it's fine. I think I'm sure they'll make a splash at some point and just kind of see where the chips may fall, with these free agents.
No, yes, of course, I feel you, man. But to start our last thing that we got in the rundown, which I know you kind of know a little bit of this, which we're gonna get through quickly. A quick NFL check-in. Some injury news actually to point out. Matthew Stafford is now on the IR. And his replacement apparently is a guy that just got released from the Panthers, Mr. Baker Mayfield, out from the Panthers, and has what was it? Wasn't even like a day. Was it like a day or two? He got now is signed with the Rams.
Yeah, one day.
What? Are you guys kidding me?
And he's starting on Thursday.
Bruh, yeah, starting on Thursday. As of this recording, Thursday, the 8th, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The 8th. Unless you're listening to this podcast a little bit after that, the 8th against the Raiders at SoFi, so making his LA debut. Wonderful. That's just great. Your quarterback gets hurt, you sign a guy that just got fired, and he starts the next day. Ain't that wonderful? Another injury news: Jimmy Garoppolo is out with a foot injury and will require surgery. Excuse me. But the Niners are hopeful he could be back for the playoffs. Jonathan, do you have anything to say upon one of these injuries or situations that we just talked about right here, real quick?
Obviously, the Baker one is, makes sense in the sense that the Rams, need a QB out with Stafford being out, and obviously the season's kind of in the tank. Why not give them a chance? But obviously expectations won't be too high there. Though maybe for Baker, this gives him an opportunity one last time to see, if he has anything left, and being a starter at least, because obviously he's proven that he's just not living up to that talent as the number one pick. And for Jimmy G and the Niners, yeah, like you said, the fact that he might be able to make it back for the playoffs is huge because obviously no Lance, now no Jimmy. They're looking good. But, we all know without a quarterback in this league, it'll be hard for them to really make a run, and like beat the Eagles or the Cowboys. So tough break for them, but
they went on a 5-game winning streak, so it's like well, we just lost our main quarterback. Yeah, I know, right? Like, damn, like it just sucks. But I think the Niners were victorious this past week. Let me see. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, they beat the Dolphins 33-17. So it's still all good in the hood. They still got a chance. In the other headlines around the leagues regarding the final scores, the Cowboys convincingly defeated the Colts 54-19, in which I think at halftime or the third quarter it was like 19-19, a fairly close scoring game in which I thought, damn, like the Colts are giving it to them. And I don't know what happened. I turned my TV off and I came back and the game was over 54-19. I was like, what the hell happened? Like, y'all got Dak Prescott back and he just turned on the afterburners or what? But I guess so, right?
Yeah, a mix of that and Matt Ryan just is old and no good anymore.
Ouch. The Commanders and Giants ended in a 20-20 tie. Sounds weird to say. They ended a tie. The final score is 20-20. I think the Giants kicker tried kicking a last second field goal and he missed. And I think this was the game. I forgot. I was on someone's live stream and I had even said, I'm like, this game sounds weird. Can we just take a tie, like jokingly? And for all those people that follow us on Instagram and Twitter and they see why did I put ties and the pick'ems and the pick'em polls that I post. Yeah, it happens. That's why I put these damn ties in the polls. So no one better be coming at me anymore and be like, why you put ties, bro? This is why. Exactly this reason. So there you go. There was a tie. And the Monday Night Football game that occurred, which is probably more or less the best, not the best game, but stressful, exhilarating game of the week. The Buccaneers defeated the Saints 17-16. As I hate saying this, but I guess you could say Tom Brady somehow, some way led his struggling wide receivers to a win victory, in which they, I guess you could say in a 2-minute, 3-minute drill, marched down the field and defeated the Saints. When the Saints were up 16-3, they got one score. Then all they needed was the second touchdown. Oh, dude, it was so infuriating to watch as the Saints just squandered their last chance to win the game. They were able to turn the ball over and went 3 and out. Like, dude, that when they went 3 and out right before the scores win, I was like, all right, you guys just lost the game, bro. And then
you knew it.
Considering Andy Dalton threw a dime to Taysom Hill, and Hill unfortunately couldn't hold on to the ball. He got ripped, shredded when he got the ball, coughed it. Well, figuratively, he couldn't catch it, no control. It was in his hands. He dropped it, and yeah, that was it. That was the end of the game, in my opinion. They squandered their chance to close it up in those last dying moments of the game, and the Bucs came back and took the W. But yeah, I think that sealed it up for the Saints' chances at the playoffs. But unless the Bucs start losing the next last games, that might be it. And the Bucs are probably going to go to the playoffs. But Jonathan, are there any other games that you want to point out over the weekend that caught your attention very quickly?
NFL wise, I mean, I guess if we want to just talk about the best team real quick, record wise, I mean, the Eagles continue, to play well, and seems like they'll be, for real. Obviously, they started undefeated, but they look for real. And I guess also the fact that the Bengals, Burrow, just for some reason owns Mahomes. Is this a thing? Like, is this gonna be a thing? Like, Burrow's 3-0 against them, and they came back to win again this time. In case he was up late, so Joe Cool just showing that, maybe the Rams having the Super Bowl slump. Usually it's the reverse, right? The team that loses, but no, the Bengals are getting hot, and again, that could be a matchup, them or the Bills in the playoffs, where that team is looking hot again at the right time.
No, yeah, I feel you. With the Eagles, yeah, they're 11-1. They dominated the Titans the past weekend, 35-10. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles be taking it this year.
Ooh, that's winning it all right. That would be, I mean, maybe not a shock, but
I mean, they're the most consistent team. Their only loss was actually to probably a crappy team. It was the Commanders, so.
Right, exactly.
So yeah. But is that all that you got to say upon these topics that we've shown today?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Alrighty, I believe we've completed our programming for today. Thank you for listening to Rambling Runoff. If you're listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and also like the video. If you're on Spotify, please follow us and give us a like as well. If you'd like to hear more of us and our rambling, please follow us on Twitter at @OffRambling and on Instagram. Also, we have a TikTok. Just look up Rambling Runoff. Jonathan, really quick, can you tell the people where they can find you on the socials?
You can find me on Instagram, and it'll be at Ghattas_09, I believe. That's the only thing I'd be using. I don't like social media, dog.
No, it's all good. I just like to give my guests a quick platform shout out for themselves. But yeah, it's all good, man. But thank you once again for stopping by and being on the show. And thank you to you, the listener, for giving us, letting us borrow your ears and your mind and everything, and hearing us ramble about sports. But yeah, once again, I've been your host, Robert Rios, for Jonathan Ghattas. See you guys next time. Peace out. Woo!
All right.